So I guess we should just get started. You mentioned technical difficulties, but everything seems to be working well. So is it okay if we get rolling then, Jenna?
Yeah, go for it. Absolutely.
Okay. And Jake, I just saw an email where you said you needed me to, since I won't be attending in person, can I sign the minutes and email them to you? So what precisely do you need? Do you actually need a physical signature? You need me to print off the minutes and then scan them or something? Or can I just tell you by email?
All of those work. As soon as this meeting is over, go ahead and sign up. Well, assuming we approve the minutes, sign them and then send them back to me. However, all of the methods you just mentioned are appropriate.
Oh, okay. Okay, so I could just actually send you an email that says that I approve of these minutes.
Yep, but we got to approve them first before you sign them.
Right, right. Okay, yes, right, yeah. Okay, very good. Okay, so maybe we should start with that. But just welcome everybody. Nice to see you. Nice to Zoom see you, I guess. Let's see, we have Quinn, we're missing Quinn. Any word on Quinn? Anyone know?
I haven't heard from him, so I'm a no.
Okay. And Jeff, I thought maybe you couldn't join us, but you are joining us. I can't remember.
Yeah, we were actually going to be out of town. My mother-in-law just passed away, and so we postponed our getaway. So,
our condolences. Yeah, that's lovely to see you, and thank you for attending the best meeting in the city, as I'm sure we are widely known.
Absolutely.
And but our condolences to you and your wife on your loss. I'm sorry to hear that.
Thank you. It's been a while coming. She was held on way longer than she should have. So we're grateful for the extra time.
Oh, well, that's beautiful then. And just because, I don't know, I like to engage everybody on these things since it's so odd. Hi, Paul. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Good to see you.
Good. Okay. Staying safe and well and busy, or?
Yeah, busy with 2 little boys.
Okay.
They've been a little stir crazy some of this time, but we're making it through.
I have been so grateful to have little kids during this period of time.
Yeah.
I'll just leave it at that. Good, you're a good man. Heidi, how are you?
Good. Mostly, honestly, this hasn't really affected my life. I kind of feel grateful for that.
Yeah.
Not working and no kids at home, so nobody to drive me crazy, and so that's been nice.
Yeah, yeah. You know, I've said as well that it has not affected me that much. I've got a job that easily transitioned with a lot of work to online when classes were in session. That was exhausting, actually. But then once classes finally wrapped up, you know, I kind of feel like I come in the office, I do research, I go on my mountain bike rides, I go to southern Utah when I want. My life hasn't changed that much in a lot of ways, which I'm very grateful. Quinn, thank you for joining us. How are you?
Doing great, thank you.
Good. Glad to see everyone as well. And Quinn, you probably haven't been able to travel as much as you used to. In fact, have you traveled much at all, or?
Not outside of the state, no.
Yeah. Okay. Well, and Sarah, you've talked, but I haven't said hello, and I hope you're well, and your family doing okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I have a freshly minted graduate, so.
What did you, I'd forgotten your name. I'm so sorry.
Oh, Gwen.
Gwen, you graduated from?
My brother did.
Oh, okay. Okay, great. Okay, well, welcome everyone. So maybe, as I was about to say, and then got distracted by saying hello because I think it's important. Let's see if we can approve the minutes from last time, if that's okay, since we were just talking about them. I found them there from March 12th. They were in the original email that was sent by Jake, referring to today's agenda. Minutes are much simpler than they used to be now that we just have recordings. So I have looked them over, right, and they accord with my memory and everything. So I would move approval of the minutes.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, I think we have now approved the minutes. I will give you the official email approval at the end here, Jake.
Okay.
For our agenda today, let's see. My agenda has opened poorly. There we go. So we have first on the list the Earth Day Art Contest report. Sarah, would you like to do that?
Yeah, just briefly, I wasn't sure how it was going to go this year, obviously, but we were still able to get several entries, and we were able to do the judging virtually as well, and that was really interesting to hear student perspectives. And another component that we added this year was to invite the artists to include an artist statement, and that was really a great way to kind of get behind the scenes on each of the artists and what motivated them to participate. So those, I'm actually going to draw on those for future social media posts to refer to some of the things that our youth are thinking about when they're talking about the environment. So I'm looking forward to using that. And then as far as our winner, Jenna, I don't know if you have access to that, or do you want me to try to share it?
So I shared it with Jake, who's technically Ryan right now.
Right.
So he should be able to share it with the group.
I'm ready to do that.
All right. It's
If
just
you'd rather share it, you can.
if you've got it right there. No, I know. I can. Let me get it.
Just a second here.
Well, you're pulling that up, Sarah. Just congratulations on pulling that off in circumstances. That's extremely impressive.
Yeah, I was a little nervous, but definitely very grateful for the opportunity to do that. Okay, there we go. So that's the winner. Her name is Laura Williams. She's a student at a former student now. She was a ninth grader. Now she'll be moving on, but she was a ninth grader at Orem Junior High School. And she received a prize of a gift card to a business here in Orem. And she chose the Michael's Art Supply Store. I think she's just gonna resupply her habit, which is great. She's been participating in a lot of art contests, and she's really gotten the bug, and it was great to visit with her and her mother and kind of talk about her interest in art and her interest in this. So excited about the youth and the future, and to see these new leaders come through. So anyway, congratulations to her.
This is really great, Sarah. Were we able to get it up on a billboard?
Yes, we were. We were able to get it on the billboards at the University Place, at the digital billboards there. The one on University Parkway and the one on State Street, about, I don't know, a little bit away from the corner, but they have the two-sided digital billboards there, and they ran for, I don't know, maybe 4 days. So that was kind of fun for her. And then we had it on the city's social media pages as well.
Fantastic. Okay, well, as I say, congratulations, that's fantastic. Okay, the next one was a budget update. Jenna, do you want to do that, or are we waiting?
I have right here.
Perfect. Thank you, Jake.
Yep.
So we did propose your budget request of the, I think, $2,450. That was initially moving forward with this COVID issue and situation that we have. They basically have cut most of all the budgets for these ancillary committees, and we have a flat of $250 going forward because of the issues with unsurety of the budget and all the different monies that are now tied up with who knows how this is going to play out, are kind of tied up. There is hope that if the economy does come back quicker than normal, that may be entertained during this year. But right now you're looking at probably $250 for the next year.
Okay, thank you, Jason. I didn't realize you were with us. Welcome. Hope you're well.
Can I just ask, is that 2021 money or 2020 money?
It'll be the 2021 budget year, yeah, starting in July.
Okay, so that will impact some of our goals.
There is hope that if the economy improves quicker than they expect, they will revisit the budget. Something they're not just shutting the door, but right now they're unsure of what's going to happen and where they need to spend their money. So they've kind of cut some of the issues or some of the committees that we've had, and some of the requests have been cut just to accommodate for those unknown situations. So the good news is that they have a potential, if the economy comes back, which seems like it's coming back a little faster than they anticipate, we may be able to revisit that in the future. Anyway.
Okay. I mean, that makes sense. It's unfortunate, but as I read about deep cuts being considered all over the place, I feel fortunate that I am less impacted than many might be in this respect. So thank you.
Welcome.
And also, along these lines, Jenna, you informed us that the city has withdrawn from the goal or the process of thinking about zero emissions.
Yes, so we brought it back to council and they decided to withdraw from HB 411. That means that this particular opportunity they decided not to proceed forward with, but doesn't mean that there's not going to be opportunities in the future that, we won't be in a pandemic and have, these extenuating circumstances to deal with. And so those would be, definitely possible options for the future.
Do you know, thank you, Jenna, do you know, is HB 411, is that process still even moving forward? Has everyone quit, or is it still moving?
The last meeting that I had, it was via Zoom back in mid-March. They were pretty adamant that they wanted to proceed forward. They still hadn't figured out the actual amount that every municipality would have to participate with. That was supposed to be determined in April, but I have not heard anything from March. So I'm honestly unsure. I know that most of the other municipalities expressed great concern because they too are having budgetary cuts, and were concerned about the timing of actually finding out the amount the application would cost in relation to when their budgets were due and their fiscal cycles. So I don't know how things are going to pan out, but I just wanted to make sure that you guys were aware of what was going on.
Well, we certainly do appreciate that, right? I think that's important that you reported back to us on that. And so, yeah, we needed to know. Yeah, it's all very unfortunate. I mean, at the same time, there is a sort of there's always silver linings, and the silver lining to this particular pandemic has been the huge decline in global emissions of greenhouse gases and things like that, and air pollution. Though I suppose air pollution will probably find its way back in the summertime, because we certainly have lots of driving going on these days, it seems like. Feels to me like traffic's almost back to normal. I don't know what others are feeling like, but I don't know. Is there any comment on this or discussion of this turn of events?
Jenna, I'm just wondering if there's any more to the council's discussion, or to the city's discussion on it, other than we don't know about our budget and this might have budget implications. Was there any other discussion about how to prioritize it?
Well, several of the council members were in favor of the options that the bill presented, but due to the uncertainty of the economy at this time, they really did want to just focus more on maintaining the level of services that the city provides. Outside of that, Jeff, if you want to chime in, feel free.
Trying to get me unmuted here. I'm walking through our warehouse. No, I think that's a good representation of the feeling of the council. Is at the time it was more a concern of, you know, where things are headed, and not being sure where things are going to end up in the whole. We
You're
are,
cutting out a bit, Jeff.
so, and as you know, there should be possibilities in the future.
Jeff, you were cutting out, at least for me, but I think I got the essence of it, that it was mostly a budget concern and not a substantive decision about the nature of the program, and that there may be possibilities in the future to rejoin any kind of effort to look for net zero emissions.
Yeah, that was the feeling that
Okay.
we would like to.
Okay. Thank you, Jeff, and thank you, Jenna. Other questions or comments?
I'm just kind of really disappointed. I mean, I kind of sucks. We all of the effort for it, and here we are. But hopefully, in the future, we'll have another opportunity at this.
I think I mean, obviously, there are challenges all around, and I get the budget constraints. I understand that. But I don't think that the conversation has ended. I think that this is a part of the conversation, and I think that will continue in talking about how we can reduce our emissions. And so it's discouraging, and it's a bummer. I agree, but I don't think it's the end of the conversation.
Yeah, I was saddened as well, but upon reflection, not surprised, and I'm hopeful that you know, there's a lot of goodwill there, and we can figure something out in the future.
Keep in mind, everyone, that I mean,
Can sorry, I lost.
Is he going to keep talking?
I'm sorry. Sorry, I didn't want to talk over you. This is Jeff. I lost audio for about a minute. Was there were there questions or anything that I missed? I caught Sarah. I caught Sarah's comments and Darren's comments.
I think that kind of summarizes it. Heidi expressed her disappointment. Jenna,
Okay.
you were about to say something?
I just wanted to remind you guys that, I mean, Rocky Mountain Power is planning to make these changes over the next 5 to 10 years. So things are still going to be progressing in the direction that you guys are hoping for. It just might take a little bit more time.
Yeah. Okay. Great. So thank you everybody for your conversation about that. So next thing on the agenda is a discussion of social media and about sort of how we can, I guess, reach out to the community during this time. Sarah, I guess, you know, my sense is you probably put this on the agenda. Do you want to lead out on this?
So true confessions, I've not been doing well on social media right now because I feel like most people's focus has been elsewhere and people aren't quite ready to engage on that specifically. However, in light of the pandemic, we all, you know, we talk about how emissions are down and the air quality is better and people are gardening or they're out exercising or they're out hiking in the mountains or spending time outside. And I think that that's a place that we can come in, and I would be really interested in either a couple of different things. One, getting some data either through an official survey, maybe through Orem Forum, or a little bit more anecdotally on Facebook and Instagram, to ask people, kind of survey people, what new perhaps outdoor activities have you turned to for your therapy during this time, whether that's hiking, whether that's gardening, and how has that made you feel, and how likely are you to continue that when things go back to normal? I think because we've heard so much of how people are turning to nature for therapy right now, that's something that if we can kind of gather some data about that, on how Orem residents are using that and the benefits of that to their lives and how they intend to perhaps incorporate that in the future. I think that that's data that we could use moving forward in policies perhaps, or just continuing to talk about the significance of preserving our natural resources. Anyway, that was just one thought. So I don't know if we'd want to do it survey method or if we want to just kind of gather some stories on social media, but I would like to kind of work together to decide what kinds of questions to ask or whatever. I mean, Darren, I know you've done a lot of surveys and that kind of thing, so crafting the wording just right would be good. So that's my thought on that.
Can I jump in on that one a little bit, Sarah? I do think that there are two opportunities we have with our media messaging now that we're really nicely poised for. So one is we have this Orem Outside theme going on. And as you mentioned, this is a wonderful time, I think, to really promote that. So if anything, I think we could promote that more extensively than we historically have, just because it's summertime. We're in a place where socially, where being outside is a really good thing to do. So if we do have a good way of collecting information, we just need to decide, are we trying to actually collect data we don't know, or are we trying to use this survey as a way of getting people to think about things that they otherwise wouldn't think about? Because those could be two different strategies there. But number one is that Orem Outside. Number two is that I think many of us are realizing that we really don't need to consume as much as we've consumed before, whether it be energy, right, or petroleum or other things. And I would love to see some messaging around consumption, whether it be probably energy consumption, which is one of our goals. I don't know if the city has available some data in terms of changes in energy consumption, but if we did, that could be a useful framework for highlighting that we have an opportunity, a really quite remarkable opportunity right now to reconsider how much energy we consume.
So you could definitely reach out to Rocky Mountain Power. They do provide, I think they break it out into months, but back in March when I had the HB 411 discussion, they were just about to receive the 2019 usage amounts for all of the different municipalities in Utah, just to understand the actual level of service that is required to cover the whole area as they were proceeding forward with the new updates to the system. So if you were interested in pursuing that type of data, that might be the best avenue to do that.
I would be interested in that, Jenna. Are you thinking that they would have data on household consumption, or are we talking about city unit consumption or business consumption?
So it would be a breakdown of usage by client, I believe, if I remember correctly.
Because my suspicion is that household energy consumption might have even gone up because so many people are at home. But our overall energy consumption, I predict, has gone down. And so we'd want to see how that is broken down. If you have a name that I could reach out to there, I'd be willing to do that.
Yeah, I have a contact at Rocky Mountain Power. I'll definitely forward you their information.
Thank you, Jenna.
I wonder if, I don't know, I wonder if more than data, if what we just need are some more citizen spotlight kinds of things. So, you know, what are you doing to enjoy your time outside during this period? Or, you know, what are your survival? Maybe something like non-Netflix survival strategies or something, right? Where we could, something kind of fun maybe, right? Where we, I mean, goodness, try finding a pickleball court in this city. It is insane. 7:20 this morning. Goodness gracious. How many people are outside at 7:20 in the morning? It turns out half of Orem is playing pickleball. And you know, try riding a bike on the Murdoch Canal Trail without killing yourself on some mornings and evenings, right? I mean, so there are lots of people who are finding outdoor survival strategies, and they find them naturally. But, you know, I think that it's possible that people will start falling back on old habits as life goes on. But maybe what we need to do is we need to kind of keep those survival strategies fresh and kind of feature. So yeah, so I'm wondering if it might be helpful not to have, you know, data on this. How many people are playing pickleball? I already know the answer, a lot. We could nail that down more, of course. But you know, why don't I? You know, I'm pointing the finger at myself. Why don't I, while I'm out there chatting with all these people playing pickleball, why don't I find out a little bit about them and say, you know, is this a new thing or is this a thing you do more regularly? And ask if I can take their picture and post it on social media. Or, I don't know, things like that.
I like that direction, Darren. I could easily imagine that we have a series of social media posts, one on biking, one on hiking, one on gardening, one on pickleball, right? One on, I would like to have something on people discovering that they actually don't need that much stuff, or that they actually don't need their cars as much as they thought they did. Something like that. But if we had one a week for the next 6 weeks on each of those themes, I think it would resonate, and we could use a spotlight. And if we had information or data that we could include with that spotlight, I think it would potentially support the message.
Well, I know that's on me. I have had a hard time motivating myself to do my regular work during the past 2 months. So yeah, that's on me. I'm trying to get the motivation back and get back into it. Darren, I know I started to do a post about your xeriscaping, which I think is a great timing for that. So I'm hoping that I can, now that school's done, try to get back into the swing of things and start posting more regularly. And as far as data that we already have, I know that MAG, Mountain Land Association of Governments, I don't know during what time period, if it was over the course of a month, but they said that the ridership on Murdoch Canal Trail has increased by 80%. So that is some data.
Only 80? I thought you were going to say 800, because I mean, some
It
evenings.
feels like. So anyway, I will try to recommit myself and highlight all of those outdoor activities that we're doing here in Orem. So,
Let us know how we can help Sarah.
yeah, I was gonna say, as you have ideas or whatever, send them my way, and that'd be great.
Well, yeah, it's not just on you. I had the same thing happen, Sarah. I created a whole new Instagram account on March 10th or so, right, called Natural Orem. And my intent was to populate it with these kinds of inspirational stories, and then this happened, and I never did anything with it. So I could ramp that back up. You know, we have, yeah, because we kind of talked about this, right? We kind of talked about how, okay, well, we've got this official outlet through the city, but wouldn't it also be nice to have a more just a friend-based one that wasn't, that was just sort of, you know, right, people who wanted to chat about it, and maybe if it grew, then we could get a lot of people and people could contribute. And so I could try getting that ramped up again. You know, the exact same thing happened to me, Sarah. It's not just you. That happened to a lot of us, I think, right? It's like, it just feels weird, right? It's just weird. Stuff that used to make sense doesn't make as much sense, and it's unclear why.
And time doesn't exist.
Yeah, time is weird. Yeah. I have to for my own work projects that I manage, I have to do a lot more sort of structuring of them to get anything done than I used to do. I just used to engage them, and now I have to do so much structuring. Anyway, so okay. Anything else along these lines then, Sarah? Okay. So then the next thing was, I kind of wanted to have a similar conversation, but expand it more generally to kind of maybe revisit some of the thoughts about what are our priorities, and do those priorities still make sense in this new COVID world? And maybe just brainstorm a little bit about how our priorities might have changed. We've already done some of that in the meeting, but it's been kind of narrowly focused on social media and HB 411 and other things. So maybe my thought was to just throw it open more generally to a discussion of And maybe it would help to remind ourselves what our goals were. And I am bad at this and don't have them in front of me. Quinn, would you have them in front of you for kind of what we kind of decided on at the retreat, or is it more helpful?
They're not in front of me. Sarah, any luck? Or I can dig into it. Now look at that.
Can you guys see that?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah. You've got a lot of good tabs open there, Sarah.
I knew somebody was going to see that. I have a tab problem. I was like, I'm going to share it, and everybody's going to judge my tab problem. So
I know a lot of people who have that problem. Maybe you could go to Tab Users Anonymous.
Yeah, my kids always get after me. Okay, well, maybe that's not working. Okay.
Wow, that is a lot of tabs.
This is less. This is pared down. There's just so much involved. Okay, anyway, this was the final slide from our report that we did at the City Council's first virtual City Council meeting at the end of March 31st. And so this was the last slide from our report, trying to encapsulate what we had talked about at our retreat, what we wanted to focus on this year. So you can kind of see it. It's not showing the full view, but anyway.
I think this is a good start for our discussion, Sarah. Is there another place we have the list of actual things as well?
Yeah, let me see. Okay, wait, I'm going to stop sharing because I don't want you to.
Well, that's okay.
Let me find it first.
While you're doing that, I have a couple of thoughts. So I think it doesn't make sense to work on HB 411 right now. I think it doesn't make sense to work on Summerfest. I think it doesn't, given the budget that we just heard, it doesn't make sense to try to put up a bunch of no idling signs right now. But a number of other things might make good sense. So I don't see any reason why smart metering, right, and the conservation apps that we were talking about, the Recycle Coach and the water apps, I don't see why those would not be still good priorities for us. So I think that's something that we haven't yet talked about today, but in my family, these are very popular. And I think that we want to find ways of sharing that message and talking about some of the benefits of those data conservation tools. I think active transportation is an opportunity, given what we talked about before. Is that you, Paul? Was that one of your portfolios? I can't remember.
Yes.
So I'm wondering if this would be a good time, given Darren's concerns about dying on the Murdoch Canal Trail, for us to maybe advertise a little bit more about the range of bicycle opportunities that are out there. You know, I have my own, I use the Riverwoods Trail, River Trail, and it has a similar feel to what Darren's describing on the Murdoch Canal Trail.
Yeah.
But I'm not necessarily seeing a ton of people in the other bike lanes in the city streets and things. So this might be a cool opportunity for us to highlight the city bike maps and things there, because we have renewed interest on that. So I think that's new. That's certainly relevant. Those are a couple of my initial thoughts.
Those are great thoughts, Quinn. And yeah, I need to, you know, last we talked, we were all going to receive smart water meters and the app and be able to give feedback. And I'm not sure how much any of that has happened. So I'm volunteering to get back in touch with Neil about this and see where they're at on this on the smart metering and the app. Unless Jason, you know something by way of update on that, or have they kept moving forward with this project?
You're muted.
There we go.
Sorry about that. I haven't heard anything from Neil. I can definitely follow up with Neil though, if you'd like me to.
Well, I can as well. He was very good at the last time. So if that's okay, I mean, I'm happy to reach out to him myself and not put that on your plate.
Oh, that's fine. Either way, let me know if you have trouble. I can definitely follow up as well.
Okay. I'll reach out to Neil and see where that project's at. Cause yeah, I think that's a very exciting opportunity, and just like people may be using more electricity because they're home, so they might be running their air conditioners more. They also might be using more water. I worry about that because they're thinking more about, you know, their yards. Certainly they're doing a lot more yard care, right? I mean, trying to find anything at a Home Depot or Ace or whatever that had anything to do with the yard over the past couple of months has been really hard. So people are definitely behaving differently than they used to. And I think it would be great to re-engage the water conversation. I agree with that, Quinn. You found something here, Sarah?
Yeah, I know. I haven't cleaned it up yet, but that is the.
Can I add one thing? This photo reminds me, Sarah, that one thing we prioritized was trying to meet with some of our big users of water or electricity. And I'm wondering, to our city folks, do you have a list of big consumers in the city that is shareable? Because I think that I would like to try to figure out who in some of our big users is in charge of this and reach out and develop a bit of a relationship with the NRSC so that we can highlight great behavior, right, for potential spotlights, but also have a conversation so we understand what's happening and we understand how we might be a useful resource to our large businesses or other consumers in the city. I just don't know where to go to figure out who those people are.
Jason was just telling me that that information would be found through Neil. When Darren reaches out to him, that's probably something he could ask him about as well. As far as power, that would probably need to be done by reaching out to Rocky Mountain Power directly.
Quinn, I did email you Mike Lang's contact information just a minute ago, so let me know if you have trouble reaching him.
Is that the kind of thing that Rocky Mountain Power would feel comfortable sharing with me? Do you know?
Probably not.
Yeah. No, I'm wondering if they if the city actually knows information that we don't know somehow on that. I mean, even if we don't have exact power usage numbers, we probably have something in the city level in terms of square foot, you know, usage or number of employees.
So that's not really something that we keep track of. I mean, most of the bigger consumers are going to be the ones that you see with their lights on at night, but they keep those on for safety purposes. So it might be better to do some type of outreach of like switching to LEDs or something like that, something that would allow them to still have their safety measures met, but using less wattage.
I think that's probably right. Everybody has thought through this and it's a pocketbook issue for them. So it would not surprise me if many big users have already made changes to the way that they consume electricity. I guess I'm just looking for some kind of list of the big institutions in big businesses in the city, right? Whether they be public or private institutions, just so that we have in our head who we're dealing with beyond just who I drive by on a regular basis.
You could definitely contact Kathy Lewis. She's in charge of all economic development, and she manages lists like that and maintains relationships with businesses in Orem. So reaching out to her might answer those questions.
What is her title, Jenna?
I believe she's the full director now, but she's in charge of all economic development.
So
I can send you. Go ahead, Sarah.
No, yeah, economic development director, I think is the title.
Well, because I know she was interim, so I believe she's
Yeah,
been.
I think she's become the full, no longer interim.
That's correct, according to Jason. And the term is manager, economic
Oh.
development manager.
And it's Kathy Lewis, is that what you said?
Yes.
Thank you.
Quinn, are you volunteering, it sounds like, to reach out to her? Because I think this is a fantastic idea.
I am volunteering to reach out to her.
Great. And I will, when I contact Neil, I will ask him about water usage. You know, I worked with Provo City once on the similar kind of an issue, and they gave me data on the biggest water users in Provo City. You know, I mean, it's easy to guess the largest ones, right? BYU and the church in Provo. But in Orem, you know, we could probably guess the largest ones. But yes, it would be nice to have a list and of other ones and you know, a nice way to do this might be to feature water savings or electricity savings kinds of behaviors by big users. You know, they might welcome that sort of publicity, and I would welcome featuring good behavior, because I think featuring good behavior prompts others to do likewise. So that's how I would sort of start thinking about how to approach people on this.
Thanks.
And let's see, the other thing I saw on that list that Sarah shared is planting, right? And everybody is planting these days. I think, Paul, that was kind of more your area, because I recall you having an interest in bees and pollination and that sort of stuff, or knowing something about it. Is that right? Is my memory serving?
Yeah. So that point on our list was just maybe it could even just be one of these social media posts where we can say, hey, you know, it's a great time for gardening. Everybody's out, you know, looking for new flowers. These 5 different flowers use relatively little water and are great for bees. You know, something like that.
That would be amazing. I would love something like that.
Yeah. And I also saw, I have to kind of check into it a little bit more, but there's, IKEA has kind of gotten on board with building like custom made native bee houses. So they're basically, you may have seen these things before, but they basically have a lot of like little tubes, like just wood holes that mimic you know, just holes in logs and things like that native bees will use. And so you can, you know, custom make your own, or, you know, there's a lot of different ways you can make your own home too. So just like these bee-friendly sort of practices that attract native bees that, you know, are not scary. They're not like yellow jackets. You want them in your yard, you know, sort of thing. So
Those must be pretty popular all over. We saw some mason bee homes at Costco yesterday, I think, when we were there.
yeah, they're kind of catching on. So maybe we can kind of catch that wave and also help it along.
Well, I had no idea. I was in Costco yesterday, didn't see them. I go to Costco and have blinders on though. Yeah, I think that there's, I'm not doubting Heidi, I'm just noting that there are lots of people who don't notice stuff like that, like me, and can use help. So I strongly agree with what you're saying, that posts like that, all of this is news to me, right? That, oh, there are good, better flowers for certain purposes, and there's cool bee things I can do. I think that's awesome. We should get that kind
It was
of
news to me when I saw them there.
Pardon
I
me?
didn't know they were a thing either. I was just sort of completely by accident that I noticed.
Yeah, my wife found one, I think it was at Target or something. It's just a small little thing. It looks like a little birdhouse. We just put it on one of the external walls of our house, and we're hoping that some bees find it.
That is so cool. Yeah, we need to feature this. This is great.
Yeah.
Heidi, I feel like we haven't
come up with a little short
kind of-
list of a couple of bee things, and we can do it over a series of posts.
Great, great, that's cool. Heidi, I'm sorry, the way the conversation has flowed, we haven't talked about your contributions yet, but what is it that on the list that you were more in charge of?
Kind of just, getting things like the ideas and collecting ideas from how to, be greener, what other cities are doing. And as I don't think anyone's doing anything anymore. Everyone's trying to survive right now. Nobody's focusing on saving the planet. Everybody's kind of celebrating, woo, nobody's driving, we cleaned up the air. And that's it. I do think we could take advantage of focusing on promoting teleconferencing, like for people as things are opening back up. Just why go back to work if you don't have to, at least 5 days a week? Like, it's completely unnecessary. People can just keep working from home, and maybe we can keep the air a little better that way.
Keeping the air better, I noticed that Provo City did just install a couple of dozen bike racks around the city, so that it's far easier to find a place to lock your bike. I wonder if we could think about that kind of initiative.
Yeah, I think they installed something like 65 bike racks around the city. If you build it, they will come. I mean, that's pretty cool.
I mean, it's a problem, right? I mean, finding a place to park your bike safely is a problem, and having bike racks, that sounds like a cool thing.
How would we approach that, since a lot of stuff, Provo's a very different city than Orem. To get around, they have a lot of central shopping. It's very walkable, and we're just not there yet for that sort of thing. So other than trying to get businesses to have bike racks in well-lit and safe areas, what can we do?
Yeah, what about at parks? How well equipped are parks with bike racks? I used to bike a lot more, so I don't know the answer to this question anymore. But what if some of those pickleball players actually rode their bikes to play pickleball? What if, I just don't know. Do you know, Jason, or does anybody know, do we have bike racks in places like city parks? That would be a useful place to install them, I would think.
I'd have to double check. I'm with you. I'm pretty sure we do, but I guess I don't look when I go to those parks. But
yeah, I'm not sure either.
It's definitely something we can look into, though.
Yeah. We could get a map of existing bike racks, and then use that as the base plan for moving forward. And as funds increase, then we could be ready we'd know where we wanted to put them.
Would you know, Jason, would there be such a thing as publicly installed bike racks? Somebody who's tracked that and has a map of them or anything like that?
I don't know that we do have a map. We'd have to create that. I don't know that we have anybody that keeps track. We have some people are inquiring about our bike lanes and how many bike lanes we have. And the last map we've updated, I think, was 2012. I think it would take some effort, and I think we're going to work on that. And actually, we're going to update our bike pedestrian plan next year with our transportation engineer. And so that's going to be something I think we could do and create as we do that. But right now, I don't think we have that. But that's definitely something we could add to this opportunity coming up.
Okay.
So here's a strange question. Do you think we could ever get businesses to sponsor a bike rack to help you know, maybe co-op or pay for placing a bike rack in a, you know, certain parts of the city, and they get a little bit of an advertising, you know, bike rack donated by, you know, such and such business,
That's
or
possible.
sponsored by such and such business.
We require each business to supply a bike rack for their project. So each business is required, at least the last 20 years that I've been here, they have to have that bike rack as part of their development. But I think we're talking about more of centrally located. Is that what we're talking about?
Well, but they could, I mean, if there was a bike rack at a city park, why couldn't they, you know, help the city pay for that if they have that in their budget?
Well, that's an idea, definitely.
Okay, this has been a helpful meeting. I love that idea, Jeff. Thank you. I see we're close to 6 o'clock, so we should wrap up. But I feel like our purpose is, I feel better about it all because I feel like, okay, I can get back on track. On the to-do list, our kind of action list, Sarah is going to work on some social media things. I will as well with that Orem, natural Orem social media thing I created. Paul, you're going to help us with maybe some information about bees and flowers and plants. And Quinn, you're going to get in touch with people about the largest businesses. And I will get in touch with Neil about water use and our large water users. So we've got a good list of things to do. And Sarah, please reach out to us for social media post ideas. And if we come up with ideas, let's all put our brains together and add to it. Okay, sounding good?
Yes. Quick question before we go. The Solutions Project Fund that was, or grant, whatever, that was forwarded by Kenna Jo Matthews of this from the city, and I forwarded that to you, Darren and Jenna. Just thoughts about, should I pursue trying to write a grant application?
Oh,
So I did take a look at the website.
Okay.
I mean, it's something that you guys could pursue if you wanted to, but keep in mind that grant management, it is going to involve updates. So keeping up to date on the deliverables and making sure that you're complying with all of the standards, which I didn't have time to read all of them. So it's definitely something that you guys can consider, but it's definitely something that you should discuss with Jason as well as whoever replaces me as the staff rep before you proceed forward. It looks like there was no definitive deadline, that it's just kind of a rolling grant. So you do have time to think about things and determine, you know, what kind of things you would do with the money. So
I have an idea, but obviously we don't have time to talk about it now, but I could flesh it out if anybody's interested.
I wonder if Heidi, you might be willing to help out with that, or if that's okay. I don't know, because as we went through the list, yeah, Heidi, it sounds like maybe your area of expertise had fallen on the hardest time. So I'm wondering if you're interested in shifting a little bit. But if so, Sarah and Heidi, you could get together offline and talk about it.
Yeah, I'm open and available. Okay.
Cool.
be sure to include Jason in those discussions if you guys would.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. Let's see.
Darren?
We have to move adjournment, right?
Darren, before we go, I just want to acknowledge Jenna's contributions to the committee over the past year, and just the things that she's been able to help us with. And Jenna, thank you, and we wish you luck. Have you announced where you're going or what you're doing?
Yeah, I did earlier, but I guess you weren't here. So I'm gonna go to Qualtrics. So I'm going to the private sector.
You're sticking around locally though?
Yes, I'll be local. So I look forward to hearing good things from your group. That's why I'm so excited that you guys are gonna do some great social media posts so that you can help bolster everyone's knowledge on sustainability.
All right. Sorry I missed the initial thanks, but I just wanted to say my own thanks to you, Jenna. Thank you.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you all.
Good luck.
I always move adjournment. Would somebody else like to do so?
I move to adjourn.
There we go. Thanks, Paul.
I second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Bye.
See everybody later.
All right, thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Take care.